Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second ever episode of Slashed and Mashed. We try to I love it when we try to do things together in the Zoom call, and it's always like really awkward. And then I'm just going to leave it like that in the podcast too, so that the listeners will know exactly how weird it is.
I am the only one ever to get the perfect version of what we ever do.
So yes, Slashed and Mashed, not Cranked and Ranked, although this is an offshoot of Cranked and Ranked that we've only done one other time. If you didn't hear it and don't remember, we did Slashed and Mashed, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 by Guns N' Roses. So clearly what that is, if you take the title, Slashed and Mashed, what we did was we went through the double album, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, got rid of all the songs that we agreed didn't need to be there, and then put them all together in one badass, one disc. Well, I mean, I think we determined with Use Your Illusion and probably with this one, it would be a double album still anyway, but you know what I mean. It's putting them together into one, cutting the fat, if you will, and then making a stronger album out of it that we think anyway. So not your normal Cranked and Ranked. And I'm trying to remember if it was Alasdair Williams that suggested the title Slashed and Mashed. I apologize if it was somebody else. Just go ahead and email me or put comments down below if it was somebody else. But it was a title suggested by a viewer / listener, and it's great. So yeah. Hello, sir.
Cool.
You right there? So
yeah, sorry.
So just so everybody knows, Eddie Sparxx, my co-host here, is a little tipsy.
It's Easter Sunday over here in the UK, and I'll admit this week has gotten away from me, and I've had a few drinks. Yeah. Maybe double my usual, but I'm here.
but that makes sense. It's 7 o'clock over there. It's 1 o'clock over here. And not only that, I live in a house of the devil. There's no Easter happening in this house. So, I look at people's posts. I'm like, what is all this Jesus stuff? Oh, it's Easter.
I'm going to raise my hand here and say, I'm all about the eggs. The rest of it, fuck it. But if I got 3 Easter eggs out of it, still kind of worth it.
This year I actually did not have a Cadbury egg, which kind of bums me out because I really love those. But whatever, it happens. But so not only will Eddie be a little loose, which should be pretty fun, but also I think he like not knowingly put on an appropriate t-shirt because he's wearing a Megadeth t-shirt, and we're going to be slashing and mashing Load and Reload, the 2 Metallica albums that came out in 96 and 97 respectively. And we're going to be doing exactly what I said with the what we did with Use Your Illusion, is we're going to whittle it down to one really strong album. I mean, depending on your taste, a lot of people think these are both weak albums, but to each their own. I get that's what you're supposed to say when somebody else has shitty taste. But yeah.
I think there's one strong album in here. I'm of that mindset.
Yeah.
I
agree with you. So before we continue, though, I just want to go ahead and give a shout out because a couple episodes ago, I was like, who actually listens to this as a podcast? Send me an email at oldheadpodcast@gmail.com and let me know. And I've gotten more responses. I'll read out some names. Dan Dorshell, Andrew Hall. Andrew Hall actually bought one of our mugs, so he's awesome. Go buy some Cranked and Ranked merch.
That guy's rad.
Yeah, exactly. Jake Wilson, Stuart Chalmers, and last but not least, Austin Wishart. Wishart, It's one of those that could be Wishart. I don't know. But he actually sent me an email, and I asked him if I could read a portion of it, because I was, sometimes we get emails from people, and it really gives me like a very positive perspective on what we do. And it's great. And so I thought I would share part of this email with Eddie and with everybody else out there. Oh, by the way, old head Eddie Sparxx, hello.
Yo,
that was took a long time for that introduction. So anyway, this is what Austin wrote in this one part of the email. I'm a second-year law student in Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's stop right there. We got fucking lawyers listening to us, or would-be lawyers.
Hell yeah.
That is insane. Are there any doctors listening to us? I feel like we're the kind of show that, like, people that, the lower IQ people, get on board, because I feel like that's where that's where our shit. I mean, how many dick and fart jokes do we throw in? I guess there's some heartfelt discussion in our episodes too, but there's a whole lot of potty humor as well.
I feel like as well, there is a certain aspect of, if you are a certain level of intellect in your professional life, you got to have a moment in your time where you switch off and appreciate a good fart joke every once in a while.
I get that. You're good thinking. You're right there. So let's continue here. He says, since starting law school, my life has been consumed by classes, study, writing for my school's law review journal. I mean, this dude's Jesus. And working for judges and attorneys, which over in your country are those dudes that wear funny hair for some weird reason.
Yeah, they all dress like a snowy version of Brittany Fox whenever they walk into the.
You're staying after school. At the girls' school. Baby.
So continuing, while 100% worth the effort, law school is, to no surprise of anyone, not fun. My mental health has struggled over the weight. My mental health has struggled under the weight at times. Listening to you two talk about music, both familiar and new, and go on hilarious tangents about video games, beer, movies, concerts, and most importantly, music, helps me get through the seemingly endless torrent of work and study. I'm glad I found your guys' podcast when you started, and I'm excited to hear that your videos are getting more hits. You dudes deserve the views, and I hope that the momentum keeps going. Looking forward to hearing more, and I'm excited to hear who's next on deck. So it's great. Like we're positive. And it's not just him. I've gotten other people say that, like, it gets them through their work, or, and sometimes it is people that are struggling with just like a lot of issues. And, sometimes I forget that's, I do that too. Like I went through a huge, like year period or so where I dealt with a whole lot of anxiety and depression. And one of the things that got me through it was listening to Smodcast, which is Kevin Smith's podcast that he started back in the early 2000s. And this is back when there weren't that many podcasts. It was like Ricky Gervais, Kevin Smith, a handful of other people. And listening to that, like it really did like help me get through it. And so I'm like, it feels nice to finally be in that position where it's like, hey, we're those people now. We're helping people out. So thanks, Austin, for the great email. And unfortunately, the second part of the Sepultura thing did not do as well as the first part. So we're back in. I mean, it's not bad, but it's like, it's weird how some videos, blow up and then other ones don't. And you're like, of course this one's going to blow up, and it doesn't. And it's just, it's hard to tell.
You wait. Like 4 months down the line, it's going to be your most viewed video ever. And that's just how the YouTube algorithm rolls. It's like, it's very random for small creators like us. There'll just be like a magic set of keywords that we've put into a video, and it'll just skyrocket compared to everything else.
What we need to do is do a Cranked and Ranked called Why BTS Fucking Sucks. And literally that thing will fucking imagine the number of hits we'll get if that's just the title of the video. And then when it comes to the video, we're like, psych, this is about Slayer or something.
I mean, to be fair, we could never show our faces in public again because people would be hiring like hitmen knowing what the fucking BTS fan base is like.
It's like that. It's like one video I did where I didn't like a baby metal song, and all these people were like, "You don't want to fuck with the baby metal fans." I'm like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But I survived. I came out the other end. Anyway, so let's move on to the task at hand today, which is taking load and reload and putting them together into what I would just think would just be called load. Because if they just did one album, it would just have been called load anyway. They would, you think?
I would call it unload because we're unloading some of the we're trimming the fat here.
Okay. Unload.
Yeah.
So yeah, and these are interesting albums because a lot of people don't like them. I didn't really like Load when it came out. I was a bit disappointed in things about it, but it's grown on me a lot. And out of the mouth of James Hetfield himself, he referred to it in the Some Kind of Monster documentary as he said the words, "We're able to pull anything together." There's proof of that in Load and Reload. So clearly, he also doesn't think too highly of them because if he made that kind of remark about just pulling something together. But it was a weird time for the band. I mean, they cut their hair. Some of them were wearing eyeliner and getting their belly buttons pierced and making out with each other. And there was all kinds
dressed like a pimp.
Yeah, and there was. It was odd, but it's interesting how that time period to me now has become like one of my favorites of Metallica because I'm just like, they really were a band that were like, we're actual rock stars. Why are we trying to fit into this niche that these other people have created for us? Like, oh no, you have to be metal and have this look and this sound. And I love it when people just go, fuck it. We're just gonna do whatever the fuck we want. We want to be a band that can reach, shitloads of people with our sound and not just this core audience, which is it's great, for me. I don't know about for a lot of people, obviously don't like it, but we're going to make it better today, right? We're going to make it better.
I'm down.
So the way that we do this is the first thing we do is I'm going to read through the track list of each album. Before we did this, me and Eddie have written down because we're turning it into a 14 song album because Load has 14 tracks, Reload has 13. We decided to just settle on 14 tracks. No, there's no length requirements. If it's really long, fuck it, doesn't matter. It'll be 3 LPs or whatever the fuck. So we'll go through all the tracks and we'll figure out which ones we both decided to get rid of. Just get those fucking out of here right away, and then we'll move on from there. So let's just start off with Load, the first of the duo, and song number 1, "Ain't My Bitch." Did you keep it or get rid of it?
I'm keeping "Ain't My Bitch." I like it as an opener.
Okay, I got rid of it. So already we have a thing there where it's like, is it? So I'm going to put a little star next to that one because that's not one that we agreed on. 2x4.
Keeping it.
All right, I kept that one too. That one gets a check mark because that's gonna be on there. I like that song a lot. It's got a good groove to it.
Hell yeah, it does.
The House That Jack Built, or The House Jack Built. Yeah.
I'm willing to negotiate this one because I do like it, but I am happy to also cast it aside. So like, are we putting a question mark by that one, or are we Xing it out? Are we counting that as a no or a yeah?
Well, did you put it in your keep pile or not?
It's not in my keep pile, but if it ends up there, I won't be upset about it.
Okay. I decided to keep it, so we'll put a star next to that one. That's one we'll discuss.
Cool.
Until It Sleeps.
Keeping it.
Keeping that one as well. I think that's a great song.
Yeah.
King Nothing.
One of my favorites. Had to keep it.
I keep it that as well.
Nice.
Hero of the Day.
Hero of the Day. I like it because it's strange. I'm not used to hearing so much major key stuff in a Metallica song. So that's why I thought, you know what? I want this here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Me too. We're keeping Hero of the Day. I just think that's a really well-written song. The way it unfolds and plays out. It's really well done. Bleeding Me.
Keeping.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Keeping that as well. So that it's weird. We'll get to them eventually, but there's 4 songs total between these 2 albums that I feel were written in the same writing session, the same jam session. So like Bleeding Me, Outlaw Torn, Carpe Diem Baby, and Fixer all have the same tempo and the same vibe, and they're all long. I just figured they were just jamming together one day and went, "Oh, we have all these different parts. Let's just make 4 different songs."
Yeah.
But Bleeding Me to me is the best of the 4. I know a lot of people really like Fixer, but I like Bleeding Me a lot. And then we'll move over to the second half of Load with Cure.
Cure, to this day, after about 12 years of being a Metallica fan, it's still not very memorable, so I got rid of this one.
Okay, I got rid of that one too. So finally, the first song gets removed, and that is Cure. That one to me, it's fine, but it doesn't stand out really. All right. Poor Twisted Me.
Again, this one had a little bit more of a unique edge to it, but it was another one where I didn't feel enough attachment to keep, so I'm gonna go ahead and X this one as well.
Okay, I decided to keep that one, but that was actually the last one that I added to my keep pile, so we'll put a star there. I'll get into my reasoning behind that in a little bit. Wasting My Hate.
Keeping it.
I'm keeping that one as well. Cool. All right, okay, there we go. All right, moving on. Mama Said.
This comes from, I do have a little bit of country in me, but I also, I think because it's such a unique track that defines this era, I also feel strongly towards it, so I'm keeping it.
Okay, I wanted to keep that one as well for the same reasons, because not only is it very unique, but also it's a really good song. It's just a good song. All right, Thorn Within.
I'm willing to debate it, but I would not be upset if it went. So.
I didn't keep it.
Okay.
So we're getting rid of Thorn Within. Ronnie.
I like it. I'm keeping that one.
Okay, I did not choose to keep that one. So if you put those songs back to back, Poor Twisted Me and Ronnie, it's literally pretty much the same song. It's like the same riff played in a different way, and it's both that bluesy kind of thing. And so I just had to choose one of them. But so I guess that'll be one where we debate which one stays and which one goes. The Outlaw Torn.
Now, this one, I think, has some killer moments in it, but I like Bleeding Me a lot more than I like The Outlaw Torn. So it's one of those, again, willing to fight for it, but would not be horrified if it went. So
I didn't keep it.
Okay.
So The Outlaw Torn goes. So that brings us to the end of Load, and the only songs... There's several that are definitely staying from Load. 2x4, Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, and Mama Said. 6 tracks definitely going into our Unload album.
Nice. Bringing
us to Reload, the other album. Fuel.
Fuel staying, dude. Like,
yeah.
It's a very switch your brain off kind of Metallica song, but that's kind of its charm. Like, I like how kind of meat and potatoes more. It's still very driving, but it's not smart driving. It's like, I'm real fast, fuck yeah, kind of vibe. I
remember hearing them play that. I saw them on the Load tour. And they were like, we're gonna play a new song like nobody's ever heard before, and they played Fuel. It had different lyrics. You can actually see that version on the Cunning Stunts live show, because the Cunning Stunts live show is actually filmed like a week after I saw them in Texas. Wow. So it's that was the show, the one where everything falls down at the end and the guy's on fire and everything. That was the tour I went to, but they played Fuel there.
Nice, dude.
All right, The Memory Remains.
I like it. I really like it. This one's staying for me.
Me too. It remains on the album.
Nice.
All right. Now, see, so to me, Load starts off really fucking strong and crashes real quick. So, Devil's Dance, number 3.
I really like Devil's Dance. I love that groove to it. The boom, bum, bum,
Okay.
So yeah, that one's staying for me.
Okay. I got rid of it. So we'll star that one. That's one to debate. The Unforgiven 2.
I was really torn about this one because this one was like, do I keep it or do I get rid of it? Because I love the like B-bender kind of like country-ish kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
But it's not in my keep pile, it's in my debate pile. So if it does end up staying,
I ended up deciding to keep it, but we'll still star that one because, you know, if we need to make a sacrifice because there's another one that, you know, that'll be there. Better Than You.
I really like Better Than You. I love the feel of this one. It's just a hard rocker. Love it.
So that's in your keep pile.
That is in my keep pile, yeah.
Okay, that is in my get rid of pile. So it's getting a star. Slither.
This is the section where I'm gonna kind of get a little bit brutal with Reload because there's there is like a grouping right in the middle of this album where I'm just like, I could live without it. So Slither is going.
Yeah, it's going for me too. So that one's out of here. So it's weird. That was one, like the thing that when I was going through and listening to the songs, I ended up having to really just think about them as complete songs, because there's a lot of songs where there's a cool part. And in Slither, I kind of dig the guitar solo in it. And so I'm like, well, I can't keep a fucking song just because the guitar solo is kind of cool. All right. Next song, Carpe Diem Baby.
It's going. I'm not crazy about it. There's like a little part at the beginning with the riff, but as a song, I could live without it.
Yeah, I got rid of it too. So Carpe Diem Baby is gone. Bad Seed.
That's the main reason I like it. So it's gone. Like it's just
yeah. I like it, so it's gone.
It's just like it wears thin a little quickly for me. That one.
Yeah, I'm not big on that one either. That one's also going. Where the Wild Things Are.
I feel guilty about Where the Wild Things Are because I appreciate it on a uniqueness level, but as a song in context with the stuff that I'm keeping, it doesn't really fit. So it's one that I got rid of. There's a 4-song grouping right in the middle of Reload where I'm just like, I'll visit it like yearly and not much outside of it, you know.
Okay, I kept Where the Wild Things Are.
I can understand that.
I actually really like that song. It's very unique and entertaining to me. Prince Charming.
Willing to debate. I'll just say willing to debate for that one.
I got rid of it, so I'm guessing that would mean that. Should I just get rid of it?
Yeah, you can get rid of it.
Yeah, Prince Charming, out of here. Low Man's Lyric.
Again, I like the hurdy-gurdy stuff going on with it.
Yeah.
There's not really anything else like it in the Metallica catalog, but again, I wouldn't be crushed if it didn't stay. So you can mark that one off if you want.
I got rid of it. I
knew you would.
That's a skipper for me. It's like there's not enough happening in that song for the length that it is, and I don't know. Attitude.
Closest Metallica ever got to a hair metal song. I'm keeping it. Like straight up, I fucking love Attitude.
Okay, I didn't keep that one, but we'll star that one. Last but not least, Fixer with a XXX.
If it wasn't for Bleeding Me, I would have kept it, but it's in the middle pile for me.
Okay, I ended up keeping it So we'll put a star there. I ended up keeping it because the way that the original load plays out, there's Bleeding Me and Outlaw Torn that kind of, ends one half and then ends the second half. And I was like, oh, well, if we continued with that, then we would have to pick what I think are the two strongest, which would be Bleeding Me and Fixer. So I kept those with the idea of still keeping that vibe going on, but we obviously don't have to do that. So from Reload, the only songs that are absolutely staying are Fuel and The Memory Remains.
Holy shit.
That's it. So hold on. Let me write these down real quick. So the absolute stays are 2x4, Until It Sleeps.
Yep.
King Nothing. Hero of the Day.
Indeed.
Bleeding Me.
You are correct.
Mama Said.
Yes.
And then Fuel and The Memory Remains.
Yes.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 songs. So we have half. No, we don't. That's not math. We have
just over half.
Just over half of the album ready to go. So at this point, I'm going to cross out these ones. This is just for me. I don't know why I'm telling everybody I'm doing this, but I'm crossing out the ones that I don't need to look at anymore. So we can really.
Okay, I was gonna ask you a similar thing. I'm gonna run through my definitely not keeping songs real quick, just so that I have a list here that I can just eliminate some tracks that are cluttering up my list.
Okay.
So Cure is not staying.
Yep. No, Cure's out.
Okay. Poor Twisted Me. Are you keeping that one?
That's one that I'm arguing for.
Okay. So Slither. Are we getting rid of Slither?
Slither's gone.
Slither is gone. Carpe Diem Baby is gone.
Gone.
Bad Seed?
Gone.
Cool. And you're keeping Where the Wild Things Are.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's narrowed it down a little bit for me on my end. So now I've got Ain't My Bitch, 2x4, House of Jack Built, Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, Poor Twisted Me, Wasting My Hate, Mama Said, Thorn Within, Ronnie, Outlaw Torn, Fuel, Memory Remains, Double Stance, Unforgiven 2, Better Than You, Where the Wild Things Are, Prince Charming, Low Man's Lyric, Attitude, and Fixer.
I'm totally lost there. I'm keeping my own list down there, and if I'm good enough at editing this video for those who are watching at home, you'll see a little thing up there with a list of songs that we've kept so far. So let's go through and talk about these songs. Let's start with Load first. So Ain't My Bitch, I did not choose it.
Okay.
Mostly because I feel like Fuel could begin the album. If you're trying to go with that kick it off vibe, Fuel already does it. You don't need Ain't My Bitch to do it. And Ain't My Bitch always annoys me because the very first time I ever heard that song, huge Metallica fan, waiting for the new Metallica album, and always a big fan of James Hetfield's lyrics because he wrote lyrics like in what is it this vertigo it doth bring. He would write things like that, and then he begins this song with out of my way, out of my day, which is like not even trying to write lyrics. It's you could have just literally rolled over while you were napping and wrote those things down and then woke up. That's a okay way to start the song.
Yeah, I can see, like, I suppose in the context of if we're doing like a single album, I think it opens Load really well.
Sure.
So I do think it is a strong opener musically. Lyrically is debatable, but from a sheer, like, the way I kind of look at Load and Reload is kind of the meat and potatoes hard rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's I don't come to it for crazy proggy shit.
Yeah.
I come to it for I want this riff to make my booty shake, while I'm also simultaneously listening to Metallica at the same time. So in a way, I mean, I suppose yeah, like you say, the lyrics aren't very smart, but it's also one of those ones where it's like I kind of like that they're not very smart with this one.
Okay.
It does fit musically, and it has a good energy to it. It
Okay.
has like a young dumb full of cum kind of energy to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
But with that, yeah, I can see Fuel also being a very strong. Hell, it opens Reload, so
Yeah. Well, you know what I think we should do here, just to make it a little easier, is that the out of the ones that we are on the fence about, we haven't agreed upon. Let's talk about the ones that we really, really, really want. Like not the ones that
okay.
we're like, because the really the only one out of all of the songs that we didn't 100% agree on, the only one that I think is an amazing song that should be kept is The House That Jack Built. I just think that it's the songwriting is really good. I love in the chorus, the rhythm of James's vocals aren't the normal shit you would hear over that 4/4, because it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's singing the higher you are, the farther you fall. And I always liked the fact that he did that different rhythm over this 4/4 kind of thing. And I just think it's a really well written song, but that's just me.
Of all of the songs that I was kind of on the fence about, that is the top one I would be willing to keep. Probably next to Fixer. So yeah, House Jack Built is definitely a strong contender. If I have to sacrifice one of my babies,
well, I'm gonna put House over here on the side as one that it's a strong one to go in, but we don't have to agree yet. Okay. So for on your end, is there a song or songs that you're like, this is a 100% has to be on this?
I've always loved Attitude. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
There's something there that they've not done before or since. And it's, there is like, the hair metal part of my brain that's thinking, born into Attitude,
Yeah.
Asleep at the wheel.
So, all right. Well, let's do this. Let's meet each other at halfway, and we'll keep House That Jack Built, and we'll keep Attitude on here.
Okay, cool.
So we'll get that out of the way. Every time I write the word attitude, I'm always like, that can't be right. That's too many T's. Because nobody says attitude. You've got an attitude. And so I always think that it's supposed to be with D's. Nuts.
D's nuts.
D's nuts. Got him. All right. So we got rid of those. Now let's go to the other end of the spectrum. If you could pick one song that you're like, this has to go. Why would it even be on this album? I would say it's probably Ronnie for me is the one that I'm just like, just because you already have this bluesy thing with Poor Twisted Me, and there's other bluesy elements on other songs too. And Ronnie is just one that just seems like it should be, more should happen with the song, because you already have Poor Twisted Me, which is just it's just a vibe. The whole thing is a vibe, and it's got, pretty cool parts to it. But Ronnie is a vibe, but it doesn't quite deliver on the vibe the way Poor Twisted Me does. If we're keeping that vibe, that's just what I'm saying.
It's funny you should say that, because I love Ronnie and the way it's kind of groovy. I never got into Poor Twisted Me the way I think it was intended. Like, because I like the whole Poor Twisted Me like kind of thing going on.
And it's got distorted vocals. How many Metallica songs have distorted vocals?
That is fair, but like, there's just something about that like thing going on in Ronnie that I there's just like a bounciness to that one that kind of like gets the body moving, whereas with like, for me personally, Poor Twisted Me kind of feels like there's quite a bit of empty space in that song.
Uh-huh.
And at that stage in the album, when I think about the overarching amount of music that comes from these two albums now paired together, like, I'm kind of there, like, this is pretty much a drum beat for at least like a third of the song. Like, and there's just a part of me at this stage in the album of Load where I'm thinking, can we get to Wasting My Hate, please?
Yeah.
Whereas I think if Reload didn't exist and Load was
we did keep Wasting My Hate, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm just saying in terms of where I'm at contextually. If we're thinking about this as a double album, when we get to Poor Twisted Me, I'm like, dude, how much time have I got? Like,
all right, so because I was like, oh, I forgot that we agreed on Wasting My Hate. So that now brings us to a total of 11 songs. We only have 3 songs left to fit in here. So here's an idea. I figured that we could probably separate the kinds of songs on Load and Leroy Jenkins into like 3 different categories. There's the upbeat ones, like your Fuels and your Ain't My Bitches. There's the ones that are more of like a groove, be it 2x4, or I guess I've even put Memory Remains as like more of a groove kind of thing. And then the slower ones, your Low Man's Lyric and whatever, Mama Said, that kind of thing. So if we put these into those categories, 2x4 goes in a groover. Until It Sleeps, what would we put that in? Maybe like a slower one. That's more like a slower vibe.
I'd put it in like the kind of like almost a ballad zone where it's not a ballad, but it could fit there.
King Nothing, also a groover.
That's a groover, straight up.
Hero of the Day is a slower one. Bleeding Me is a groove. Mama Said is a slower. Wasting My Hate would be an upbeat. Fuel, also an upbeat. Memory Remains, we'll put that in the groove category.
Nice.
House That Jack Built, I'll throw that into slow. Cool. Attitude, fast. Okay, so right now that brings us to where we've got 4 slowers, 4 groovers, but only 3 upbeats. And the only real upbeat one we have left is Ain't My Bitch or Better Than You are the only 2. And those are both ones that you wanted to keep, but I wanted to get rid of. So maybe I'm just going to throw this decision over to you. Would you rather keep Ain't My Bitch or Better Than You?
Let me just run through the choruses real quick, because those 2 really...
You got to run through the Better Than You chorus. That's it. That's the that's the whole chorus. And then the talk box goes, Better Than You.
But I like that.
No, I'm fine with that. That's perfect. I mean, that part's heavy. I'm cool with that. But I also really like in Ain't My Bitch how there's the quick, what do you call it, tremolo picking or whatever it's called. Because it goes in the pre-chorus or in the chorus, and it does that. Is that called tremolo picking? What is that called?
Yeah, that's tremolo picking.
It's like I play guitar and I don't know shit. That's me in a nutshell. Wait, I'm in a nutshell. I act like I was in a nutshell right there for video people or for podcast people. Never mind.
Oh man, I feel like I'm being forced to pick between one of my 2 twin children, man. Like, Ain't My Bitch and Better Than You, I love for the same exact reason, but like, I don't know.
If you want to use that kind of analogy, just remember that you have plenty of other better children that are still alive. You can sacrifice one lesser child.
Fuck, dude. Ain't My Bitch has parts I love. Better Than You has parts I love. Oh, sorry, that was an alarm I had set there.
Hopefully that's not copyrighted material. Otherwise, we're going to be shut down.
It's okay. I managed to turn it off before the 2-second mark, so we should be cool.
Awesome.
Fuck it, I'm gonna go with Better Than You.
Wow. All right. Well, let's do that. Let's get rid of Ain't My Bitch, and Better Than You.
Yeah. Now just to give Reload a slightly fairer suck of the sauce bottle note, you know.
Okay. All right. So.
Cool.
So let's leave the big debate for the end because I figured I feel like Poor Twisted Me and Ronnie, one of those has to be picked because they've got that vibe that it was unique to Load. Like that's why I like Load so much more than Reload, because Reload doesn't seem to have as big a variety of songs on it, whereas Load has these different things where you go, I've never heard them do that before. That's kind of cool. Or at the time I was like, why are they doing this? But I like it now. So
you and I are in the same kind of camp with that because I'm more of a Load person than I am a Reload person. Yeah. But yeah.
So if we're sticking to the ones those are the only two remaining from Load to talk about, but we have only 2 song spots left. And so on Reload, the ones that are left are Devil's Dance, Unforgiven 2, Where the Wild Things Are, and Fixer. So I feel like we have to somehow whittle that down to one of those 4 tracks.
So Prince Charming and Low Man's Lyric are gone.
Yeah, those are both gone. I'm okay since it's one that I chose, and I agree with you. It's not as good as Bleeding Me. I'm okay with getting rid of Fixer because.
Yeah, because I feel like having more than one. If we're narrowing it down to a single album.
Yeah.
Having more than one epic on it would kind of defeat the object of having Bleeding Me as such an epic. So
gotcha. Yeah. So let's just get Bleeding Me takes that. I apologize for Fixer fans. I know it's a song that has a lot of big fans. It's a great song, but
it is a great song. Yeah.
But we only have 14 tracks here. So now it's Devil's Dance, Unforgiven 2, and Where the Wild Things Are. Only one of those was your choice, and that was Devil's Dance. I chose Unforgiven 2 and Where the Wild Things Are. So this is going to be hectic here. So
I always from the day I heard Devil's Dance, I've always loved it. That boom bum bum bum.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to get rid of the Unforgiven 2.
Okay.
Because I don't like it that much. And honestly, when it first came out, I was like, you literally took like what I consider to be one of the best written Metallica songs and then wrote a not as good written sequel to it. And then later on, Unforgiven 3 is my least favorite song on Death Magnetic. So if we get rid of Unforgiven 2 now, we'll just change the course of history. And there's only one Unforgiven, one forgiven. Hashtag one forgiven.
Have you heard that new one that goes Unforgiven 4?
Oh man. So I'll get rid of that one. But here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do 2 things. Number one, I'm going to state my case, and then I'm going to give a proposition. So Devil's Dance, cool song, a groover. We've got 4 groovers already. Where the Wild Things Are is a very unique song in itself. And we're giving all these different flavors of everything that Metallica gave us in Load and Reload. And I think Where the Wild Things Are is fairly unique. Now that's stating my case. Here's my proposition. I give you, Ronnie, you let me have Where the Wild Things Are. Because that's literally where we are right now with a head-to-head with these tracks.
Here's the thing. I like
hey, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
My favorite one is it. I think it's in Wherever I May Roam, where he goes, Mwah! No, it's like no, or is it in Inner Sandman? Yeah, and the things that will bite. Meow.
Meow. Here's the thing, right? I love Ronnie, but I love Devil's Dance.
Oh shit.
So,
would you prefer the other way around if we were going to do this kind of arrangement?
If we're to sacrifice one, can I sacrifice Ronnie to have Devil's Dance?
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, bye, Ronnie.
As much as that pains me, you know. Oh, so are we also agreed on Outlaw Torn not being in the...
Yeah, we got rid of Outlaw Torn.
Okay, so Outlaw Torn can go.
So you're sacrificing one. I must also sacrifice one. So I'm sacrificing Where the Wild Things Are, which I really like, to put Poor Twisted Me on there. Okay. And so, not Poor Twisted Me. What? Yeah, Poor Twisted Me. That way we get that vibe. The whatever you want to call it, bluesy thingy times.
Yeah.
So we now have 14 tracks.
Cool.
So for those of you who aren't taking notes at home, the remainers are Wasting My Hate, Fuel, Attitude, Better Than You. That's the fast song area. 2x4, King Nothing, Bleeding Me, Memory Remains, Devil's Dance, Poor Twisted Me, kind of the groovy area. Slower, we got Until It Sleeps, Hero of the Day, Mama Said, and The House That Jack Built. So now comes the real fun part, which is putting these in some kind of order.
So real quick, just so I've got, for a frame of reference on my end, Poor Twisted Me is in there, or is it gone?
It's in.
Okay. So
because remember you took Ronnie and Devil's Dance and you got rid of Ronnie for Devil's Dance, and then I took my two, Poor Twisted Me and Where the Wild Things Are, and got rid of Wild Things to keep Poor Twisted Me, just because I feel like the album needs that vibe.
Cool. I'm gonna run you through the set list that I got here real quick, just so I can get the same list as you got.
Okay.
Tell me if one of the tracks isn't what we're keeping. Right. So Ain't My Bitch.
No, we're not keeping that.
Right. Okay. So that one is gone. 2x4. House That Jack Built.
Yep.
Until It Sleeps.
Yep.
King Nothing.
Yep.
Hero of the Day. Bleeding Me.
Yep.
Poor Twisted Me.
Yep.
Wasting My Hate.
Yep.
Mama Said.
Affirmative.
Thorn Within.
Absolutely. No, we're not doing Thorn. We're not doing Thorn Within.
Okay, cool. So I think I'm down to, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
I am not going to
14.
edit this part out.
Cool. Yeah, don't. Sweet. Yeah, we're down to 14 tracks.
14.
Now we gotta sequence that shit.
So now we need a sequence. So obviously, since if we're keeping with the tone that they went with Load and Reload, we got to kick the door in with song number 1. And really the only one that's going to do that immediately is Fuel. I believe that's the best opener.
Yep.
So Fuel is going number 1. I'm going to number these. I guess I don't need to number them. I know there's fucking 14 of them. Jesus Christ. move along, dude. Okay. So the way that I honestly really like the Ain't My Bitch going into 2x4. I think 2x4 is a really great second track.
I'm 100% with you because I am doing exactly the same shit over on this end.
So 2x4 will be song number 2.
Yep.
So then, like they did with Load, at that point they brought it down. And we could go the same way that they did it and go with House That Jack Built, or we could use Until It Sleeps, Hero of the Day, or Mama Said for track number 3. I feel like they've already set it up with a pretty good sequencing with House That Jack Built, but that's just me.
I think for the sake of, faithfulness to how good Load runs, I think keep House Jack Built as 3.
Cool. I like that too. And then then it's, the real question is, do we go with Until It Sleeps? But I kind of feel like after House That Jack Built, like that's the thing, is that I feel like after that song on our version, maybe we should bring it up.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, why not just go into either King Nothing or maybe Devil's Dance at that point?
I think give Reload some love. I reckon stick Devil's Dance there.
Okay, so Devil's Dance. Awesome. So that brings us to like 4 tracks in. We've started off fast, got some groove, got a little bit of slower thing, went back to groove. Now, do we go back to fast now? Do we, after Devil's Dance, go to Wasting My Hate, Attitude, or Better Than You?
Ooh, I think Wasting My Hate would be a good one there.
Okay. All right. So now I think that after that, we got to come down.
Okay.
So
way down.
I think either any of these 3, Until It Sleeps, Hero of the Day, or Mama Said. We could still keep Mama Said for later in the album, like they did with Load, which I think works really well.
Yeah.
It works well as a second half kind of song. So really it's Hero of the Day or Until It Sleeps after Wasting My Hate.
When do you want to put Bleeding Me? Like, where's that one going to go?
I think that should end the album, don't you think?
I am on board with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and put that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Bleeding Me. Because I like that it ends Load or set the first half of Load, and then the Outlaw Torn ends Load, which is a very similar to Bleeding Me. So I like that, putting Bleeding Me at the end.
Hell yeah.
So, but after Wasting My Hate, I think that I really do think that Until It Sleeps could do well in the second half of the album, and maybe we should go ahead and put Hero of the Day here after Wasting My Hate.
I like that.
By the way, everyone listening and watching, we'll end up making Apple Music and Spotify playlists of these that if you're watching this, they've already been made, and you can go. Don't go yet. I don't want you to know how it's going to be ordered. Don't spoil it. But there'll be links in the video description. So if you're listening as a podcast, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go on the internet and go over to YouTube and click on the links in the video to get the links to either Spotify or Apple Music. If you use some other service, you're going to have to make your own. But we'll have our version. We'll have Unload there to be listened to. So we're at song number 7 after Hero of the Day. I'm going to say, even though this is literally taking a page right out of how they did it, I think King Nothing following up Hero of the Day is pretty fucking cool.
That's pretty unfuckwithable, if you ask me.
Yeah. So now we've got, that's out of the way. So that would be ending half 1 of the album. So if we were going to be putting this, if it somehow fit on side A and side B of a record, this would be the end of side 1, King Nothing. It's a pretty good ending, especially ending with the often never learn, and then like that's the end of the side. So let's look at it from that perspective. I'm gonna say side. You're gonna like this. You drop the needle on side 2, and you hear. And that is the beginning of side 2. Attitude.
100% down for that.
Yeah. And to bring it back around to the Reload half of things, track number 2, The Memory Remains.
Oh, yeah, that is a good pairing.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So go ahead.
I'm looking at this set list in a whole new light. I'm thinking this is like a 10 out of 10 fucking record, dude.
It's pretty great. To be completely honest, I know I said this before, like when we were doing Sepultura, and I was talking about it would be great if Sepultura did a tour where they only did Derek Green era songs. I would pay top dollar for a Metallica show where they literally only play Load, Reload, and Beyond, Saint Anger, Death, like just literally just second half Metallica stuff. Don't even touch the Black Album. Because I feel like every other album has been so overplayed live by them. Just start with Load, go through the newest one, and just have a set list made up of just those albums. I would love that. So
that'd be cool.
So anyway, you're not totally in agreement with me.
I suppose seeing as I didn't live through it the first time, I'm kind of there like. Kind of want to hear Harvester, but aside from that, yeah.
Well, they don't really play that much anymore at all. I'd be okay with that. I'm more just talking about the fact that they play a lot of the same songs all the time, and I know that they have to think about it. Every show is somebody's first Metallica show, so we got to throw in Seek and Destroy and Enter Sandman. But just do a special tour.
I will say I would say probably my two favorite Metallica songs are probably Blackened and Wherever I May Roam. And when I saw them, I didn't see either of those live, and I'm still chomping at the bit to see those again. So I'm going to pay very close attention to set lists from here on in. I'm going to be like, come on, fucking play it.
Yeah. All right. So we left off on Memory Remains. I really think that at this point, because we went from Attitude to Memories Remain, we should either go with Mama Said or Poor Twisted Me. Bring on the twangy vibe with one of those.
Ooh.
What do you think?
You want to stick those two kind of close to each other?
Well, I figured that the way my brain just thought when I was looking at the list, I thought Poor Twisted Me could go here, and then it would be kind of cool for Mama Said to go right before Bleeding Me. Like it literally brings it down to the most mellow that it gets, and then this big old 8-minute plus however long it is, big old rocker closes it out. I think that would be cool. So we would do Poor Twisted Me here. Does that sound good to you?
Cool. So the tracks so far is Fuel, 2x4, House Jack Built, Devil's Dance, Wasting My Hate, Hero of the Day, King Nothing, Attitude, The Memory Remains, and then
Poor Twisted Me.
Poor Twisted Me. Poor Twisted Moi.
Then we have two spaces, and then Mama Said followed by Bleeding Me.
I'm down with that. So the important question is then, where are we sticking Better Than You and whichever one we've got left? Because I think I X'd off the wrong ones.
I think we should just go, since we're going into Poor Twisted Me, bring it back right up full steam to with Better Than You, then have more of the introspective alternative Metallica sound with Until It Sleeps, bringing it into Mama Said, and then bringing us home with Bleeding Me.
Dude, now I look at this stuff, it's like a greatest hits almost.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
And the thing that we did that I like is that we did keep the vibe of Load, which I like. I like the fact that you did get these different flavors of Metallica on this album, and we got some of your, like you said, meat and potatoes rockers. We got the little bit of the bluesy side. We got the twangy, very left field Mama Said. We got the best of the big chunky ones, which is Bleeding Me. I mean, we really if you're gonna do it, because like now that I'm thinking about this, the weird thing, because I'm such a huge Metallica fan, the one thing is I'm like, wow, I'm really glad that there's 2 albums.
Yeah,
because I'm like, there's a few of those songs I'm like, oh, I would miss those, but you know, the albums aren't gone forever. This is just a different way to listen to Unload, as it would be. So that leads us with Fuel, 2x4, House That Jack Built, Devil's Dance, Wasting My Hate, Hero of the Day, King Nothing, side 1 or LP 1. And then Attitude, Memory Remains, Poor Twisted Me, Better Than You, Until It Sleeps, Mama Said, Bleeding Me. It feels like it flows pretty well.
Yeah.
I kind of I kind of dig that. So that is the playlist that you will see in your in the description of the video on YouTube, the links to our versions of it. It's interesting. It doesn't, to me, it's not quite as satisfying as when we did Use Your Illusion, because when we finished Use Your Illusion, I was like, hell yeah, I don't ever want to listen to this album any other way than our version. But this one is like, there's still a part of me that goes, it doesn't seem perfect, but I'm glad I'm happy with what we did here.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like, I'm still going to end up listening to both of these the way they were intended eventually.
Yeah.
But I think for a casual listen, this is likely the way I would go.
Yeah.
So,
also, just putting this into my brain is like putting myself into so in 1996, when this came out, I was 18. I was 18 years old. And just thinking about being 18, and then they're like, well, now we're premiering the new Metallica album. Because the first way I heard it was I was at work and on the local radio station, because the album was going to go on sale at midnight that night. And then we went to the record store and got it that night. But earlier in the evening, the radio station played the album in full. So me and another big Metallica fan were just in the back, not working, with the radio dial set on. And imagine if like they'd been like, here's the new Metallica album, and it started with Fuel. I would have been a lot more excited. Because that's a pretty damn, it's a barnstormer, as they say, of a song. But you know, it was what it was, and it was a rough relationship with me and Load, and especially Reload. But I like Load a lot more now. But Reload is definitely it's my least favorite Metallica album. Like I will listen to Lulu before I will listen to Reload, just because I get a lot more out of Lulu because it's unique and weird and interesting. Small town girl. I like that one, man. I am the table. And so yeah, but you know, but that's just me saying it's my least favorite of my favorite band in the entire world, where I don't hate anything they've done. So it doesn't really mean much. It just means that it goes below everything else. But so that's Unload. We fucking did it, man. Nice. Honestly, like any excuse to talk about Metallica is good for me. So I'm all like, well, what else can we do? Because we literally already did Grooved and Removed with the first 5 Metallica albums. Now we've done Slashed and Mashed with Load and Reload, and we already ranked the Metallica albums. I don't know what else we can do. We'll rank our top 10 favorite Lars Ulrich moments for the next. I mean, number one is. Yeah. No, so speaking of that,
he left the fucking band.
There's if you haven't seen it yet, there is a movie on Netflix called Metal Lords, and it is a lot of fun. It's a really fun. Did you see it yet?
I saw your tweet about it, but I haven't seen it yet. I haven't said
you'll like it too. You and I like have that same vibe going on, so you'll probably get it the same way I do, where it's a fun movie. But also when it comes to metal movies, like most metal movies that are supposed to be like, this is a great metal movie, they always seem to get shit wrong about being a young metalhead. Because everyone likes to have this memory like they were hardcore all the time. There was no feelings involved in it. I put on my battle vest and that was it. And I had spikes and I got into the pit. I killed people. And that's not what it was, or at least not for me or anyone I knew. And so this one has that great balance of like the obsessiveness of getting into metal and loving it and it becoming like something that drives you. But at the same time, it has like a heart to it. You know, it's real. It's like, it's not a perfect movie, but it's like, I went into it saying, I'm going to enjoy things about this movie, but at the end of the day, I'm probably never going to want to watch it again. But I came out of it going like, man, I really like this movie. Like I want to watch it a lot. And it's, you know, it's just a fun, you know, it's a fun, big hearted metal movie. And, it's got some cool metal cameos in it. And a great soundtrack. There was all sorts of great songs. But there's a moment in there where I don't remember the conversation they're having, but they're talking about the Metallica bass player and they're referring to Jason Newsted. And one guy turns to the other and says, "Oh, you mean the one that they kicked out?" And like, and there's no mention to it. They just say that. And in my brain, I can hear Lars going, "He left the fucking band." Huh? Period. Exclamation point. So I just thought that was funny. Long way to get to like one of my favorite Lars moments.
It works though.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
It is a good one.
He left the band.
But I do really like the part that he's like, oh, he does that one part. Lars is so great. That's the weird thing is that as I've gotten older, if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, you can hang out with one member of Metallica tonight and go have drinks. Which one is it going to be?" I'm like, "It's fucking Lars." I mean, I won't get a word in edgewise, but I don't care. I just want to be across the table sharing a pint, you know, with Lars. And like, who knows? You know, he's just a very entertaining dude. He and I will both say a lot, but you know. It'll be fun. Who would you choose if you could choose any member of Metallica to have a pint with? Who would it be?
Oh fuck! It'd be Jason, dude. Like I've
always it's a good choice.
I've always been a Jason stan.
I like him too.
I've always loved his vibe, and I've always thought, you know, God, I'd love to have just like, you know, share a stage with that guy. Yeah. Just on his energy alone. I mean. You know, I love Rob. I mean, Rob is the longest standing Metallica member and he brings his own vibe. Yeah. But there's just something about Jason's stage presence that always just kind of like, it was something else. Like he would sing verses of songs.
Yeah. And sometimes entire songs.
Yeah. And it was almost as convincing, if not more than James at points where it's like, oh fuck, I am listening to this guy. This guy could.
He was a fan. He was a fan first, so getting to play those songs that he loved on stage, I think that's why I liked it so much because it was like an extension of the fan being like, oh, one of us is up on stage now.
It's the relatability I think that really gives Jason his charm.
Yeah,
but yeah.
He's my favorite Metallica bass player. I wouldn't say technically he's the best, but he's my favorite because that's when I came on board with the band. And when I think of Metallica, unfortunately, I think of the four, you know, Justice, Black Album, Load guys. You know, I think of them. That's when it all started for me, and so that guy is very special to me too. But I feel like, you know, Jason's probably like. I don't know. I feel like I would come off as kind of a dork, which is probably also why I wouldn't want to hang out with James. So I need to hang out with somebody who is equally a dork. So it's either going to be Kirk or Lars. So
that's the thing I would say as well. Like Jason, in a way, seems like approachable, but also like quite imposing. Like, I feel like if my voice cracked in front of him, I'd die inside. But I feel like up until that point, I could have a heartfelt conversation with the dude. But like the moment I go, so anyway, how was it recording the Black Album? It's like
I would so not want to mention anything Metallica related if I was talking to anyone except for Lars. I'm sure he would be perfectly fine with just talking about Metallica for hours. So anyway, we're totally just dragging the ending of this out because it's a shorter episode. We're gonna give everyone we didn't have any tangents because we were on a mission. We were on a fucking mission to put this unload together. So and we did it. We fucking did it. Yeah, we did it. That's another one of my. Well, I guess that's not really a Lars moment, but
it's a John Rule moment.
One of my favorite Metallica moments is that whole thing. That is one thing too. Well, we'll talk about that later. I'm literally getting on things that are not related to Road and Lee Road. That on that note,
Road and Leroy.
I haven't had anything to drink aside from coffee and water, and you're the one that tied a few on, and I'm the one who's can't even speak properly. So shit.
I've had about 8 pints today.
8,
and I'm British.
He is, folks.
Half my bloodstream is beer.
All right. Well, I guess go.
I was just saying. That being said, I mean the load reload cut down has been something that has played on my mind for about 12 years. So thankfully, this landed on a pretty convenient occasion.
Yeah. It's all right. It's a loose vibe we got going on. But yeah, and thank you for joining us for this the second ever Grooved and Removed. Maybe also if anyone has
slashed and mashed, dude.
Oh, slashed and mashed. Grooved and Removed is the ones where we remove a song from each album. Slashed and mashed is what we just did. Man, I gotta go lie down. Thank you for joining us for Slashed and Mashed. What I was going to say was everyone either in the video comments or just send me an email at oldheadpodcast@gmail.com and suggest other companion albums or double albums. Because the only other ones that I can think of right off the top of my head are the White Album that could be whittled down to one. Albums like that, where it's albums that I wouldn't go with 2 separate albums that were just close together. They have to be related because otherwise it just seems like people could be like, oh, you do Number of the Beast and Peace of Mind. And I'd be like, well, why would I do that? Those are 2 separate albums. They're not recorded at different sessions and not related, really, except for it's Maiden in the 80s.
I can see maybe the first 2 Maiden albums being the only 2 Paul Di'Anno ones. Yeah, that maybe
that's got it. Yeah, that could be doable because they literally are the only 2. Or if there's a band that only has 2 albums, and then we'll just whittle them down. But any other suggestions? And you guys kind of know that watch and listen regularly the kind of shit that we would actually do. So if you go way left field, it'd be something we have to have strong opinions and a love for the music we're talking about. Otherwise it's just whatever, this song title is kind of dumb. Let's get rid of it. But yeah, that's it for Slashed and Mashed. That's it. And we'll be back next week with a fun one. It's going to be a fun album, actual band discography ranking. And it'll be really fun for me because it's a band that I've only heard 1 album by this band that we're going to be ranking. I've heard other tracks, a few, but I've only heard 1 complete album by this band. And it should be fun. So we'll be back for our regularly scheduled crankting and ranking of stuff. And we're just fucking rocking and rolling, man. That's what we're going to be doing, man.
Hell yeah, we are.
So yeah, as usual, Peanut Butter Platypus for those of you who stick around and watch all of our shit, especially all of you that have been emailing me, letting me know you listen to the podcast. I don't want to, I should give shout outs to people in YouTube world too. So, just feel free to give me your feelings in YouTube, the YouTube comments as well. I feel like I should be singling out and shouting out our viewers and listeners more often, because like, who the fuck do we do this for besides for the few dozen people that love listening to us all the time? So
shout out to the Peanut Butter Platypus Army.
Yeah.
And a non shout out to all the peanut butter pieces of shit.
Yeah, fuck those people.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for this episode of Cranked and Ranked / Mashed, and we will see you next week for that was a brackets thing I just did.
Yay!
And so as usual, cool. Yeah, it was as usual. I'm gonna throw it over to 3 Sheets to the Wind, Mr. Eddie Sparxx, to take us out.
Yeah,
That was like a James Hetfield, John Tardy combination.
Yeah. Chopped in half. Feel the blood spill from your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Now where's that? Now where's the Metallica songs done in the vein of Obituary or vice versa?
I don't care. I do what I want.
Okay, bye everybody.
Later, dude.